Right. That's good. Hey. お願いします。
お願いします。
お願いします。We just start. We do here just a bit. The arms. Yes. Going. Yeah. Just sort of bring both the feet into the ground. Just letting the heels kind of impact into the ground. Softly. Pulse through the body. And each time just let the body kind of settle down. Like the body's like jelly. And just start to come into the front and back. You work in the chest. And a little bit the arms as well. And draw them back. Looking forward. That's good. If you feel quite flexible, just start to open out a little bit. It's like bringing the chest towards the ground a little bit. Watch the back. Side to side. Just really work the edges of the feet. Do it. And just slowly into a rotation. Let more and more of the body settle into the ground. You don't want to be super loose. Right now, think a little bit like a kind of, well, just really like let the body go in a direction. So let it release down as well, a little bit to the back. Use the breath as well, so just let it kind of release. Sometimes just go to the ground a little bit. It's working with a very loose. You're actually doing right now you're doing like an ungrounded spiral motion. So if I've got like, if you imagine like a discus player, discus thrower, this kind of motion, so you go like a spiral, but it's in a way it's ungrounded. So everything's going out into the air. Or everything's going out into the discus, or the discus player. Like nothing really goes into the ground until the reground. Just find that you're doing like an ungrounded movement. And then just slowly start to bring the body into more and more into the ground again. You start to feel growing out of the limb, the arm in this case. Doesn't really affect the body's ability to ground the movement. And actually, the more I throw the arm out, the more the body will ground or will want to ground. It's just allowing the body to basically fall into the feet. Releasing the knees, letting the hips sink. Okay, great. Actually play with the arms, taking them to different places. That's the shoulder to the hips. That's great. Right. Great. Great. Okay, we'll just do a little bit of body work with the feet, but I just want you to start like this. So just very, very simple, and just focusing. Again, I start with the feeling like, oh, I'm being thrown out of the body, and then just slowly start to feel that you can start to ground the body down a little bit more each time. So falling more into the middle of the structure. Again, the hands coming out doesn't disturb the body's ability to just ground. And slowly you start to feel comfortable with it. Just start to go into a little bit more rotation each time. One of the hardest things we do in Aikido is rotating, especially while raising the arms. This idea of rotating through the space, changing direction, whilst at the same time staying balanced, centered, grounded. It's super tricky. Just play that a little bit. Play with the arms so they can do different things, or they can do nothing. Just start to move the body around a little bit. Just kind of fill the whole space, move around a lot. Okay. Try and feel all the time that you're actually always in the center of the body. So it's not about going anywhere, it's about just sitting in the whole body. It's about sitting in the structure and allowing it to move through the space. Yeah, that's it. And if you do it in a way like Irumi Tenkan, like it's really like classic. Just feel that you can extend the rotation now. So you're basically going to take the body into a rotation, and then you're going to keep it rotating, rotating, rotating. And just do like a few turns. You don't want to keep spinning the same direction. It will make you totally dizzy. Just get the sense that you can just extend the rotation. And I think about this two ways. You can either like take the rotation and just keep spinning, or I can think about like exiting the rotation. So I think about entering into the rotation and then exiting it somewhere else. So I'm just taking a different kind of exit out where we would normally just kind of just end. What I'm doing now is like, yeah, and take it somewhere else. So just continue the rotation, take it to a slightly different angle. You can just let the hands follow the motion. Right. Very nice. Nice. Okay, and then just coming back to the center, we're just going to work on this swing. So this is one that's going to come out to the side and then just swinging it down. Swinging it down. The first, you just get used to kind of heaviness. And what you want to do is really fill the whole movement with feeling. So you want it totally full, 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 full. So one of the things that we can mistake like relaxation with is like too loose. So it becomes like relaxation with emptiness. So if I think about I'm relaxed and I empty, this is not really helpful relaxation for us. So in a way, I need to be relaxed. The structure needs to fall into itself, but I need to be kind of active in it as well. So just get the sense that everything's full, really clear kind of movements. 1, 2, release. No. There we go. Okay, and I just wanted to think about one thing, which is the connection between the hand and the foot. So what's happening in the hand and what's happening in the foot is always the kind of, always going to be not equal, but there's always going to be a similar movement going on. So when we do this kind of swing, it's much more obvious because I'm kind of falling into the feet, the hands swing down. So that movement of the hand and the pressure going into the feet is the same. Now it's the same here, it's just a little bit more complex. So as you go here, there's a compression into the foot. So that hand movement, just feel that there's an equal movement going into the foot. So there's a focus here on this swing, but I'm also focusing and feeling down in the foot. There. And then as you go to here, out. So there's always a kind of compression pattern moving through the feet. So just kind of feel where it is. And you can do this like one-sided. Might make it a little bit easier. You can just go to both. But just feel all the time. Feel where you are in the foot. Try and make as much that movement or that intention down towards the ground as full as the movement out with the hand. And what's right in the middle of all that is the center of the body. Just, we're basically going to use the center to govern that move. Out. That's it. There we go, good. And then just take it into a little bit more flowing. So you're going to kind of not really stop. And I want to keep that heaviness, but I want to slightly introduce a little bit more flexibility into it. A little bit more flexible. And I feel the limbs a bit more like a kind of bird flapping. A little bit more flexible through the structure. And hopefully the movement will kind of assist that ability to go a little bit more open, a little bit more fluid. It's got the same structure, nothing's changed, but it's now a sense that everything's going to be a little bit more flexible. Yeah. And it's not to do with speed, it's just to do with kind of shifting quality. Something changes. That's it. That's it. Okay. Right, there's a way of doing this, but if I let's say if I just do the movement, like there's a way of doing it like I'm doing it in a vacuum, in a way like I don't really get anything from it. In a sense, you try to imagine like you're in water or you're in some kind of like thick, heavy substance. So in order to kind of move the limbs through it, I need to feel that I'm kind of compressing the space or I'm pulling the body through it. Now, I don't want to create tension in it, but I want to feel that I'm actually moving the body against something. So I'm working with the resistance of the water. So I'm not working like against it. I'm going to go into it. I'm just trying to use the water or the feeling of the water as a way to make the body much more stable and fill the movement with a kind of feeling. So just feel these 2 points. Obviously, I can just release everything. But if I'm in water, if I imagine I'm in a heavy substance, like a treacle, I have to kind of sink everything down. So feel that the whole body's like full as you do it. And it looks totally the same, but it feels totally different. So this is where the zoom won't help because it looks the same. I can do that. or I can do that. And it's something to do with how you fill the body with feeling. So it's not really a technical thing. That's it. That's it. Nice. It should look a little bit like you're kind of underwater doing it. Like, there we go. Great. Got it. Nice. And we've done this before. Just take it from like a neutral position. It's much more relaxed, much more natural. And the movement's just going to come out. Now, the feeling you want to go is like fully fluid, fully flowing. So just let it go. And you can just play with it, you can just put one side. I want you to get the feeling that you really kind of catch the hands with the hip. It's like throwing a punch. And the leg needs to be pretty relaxed to do it. Just play with it a little bit. Don't hit yourself too hard. The main problem with going light, if we look at like going into Kina Nagari, the main problem is that we go fast and we go light. So I go, as soon as I start to go fast, I lose all the ground. And I go to like this kind of, everything becomes quite light. So I mistake going fast for going flowing. Flowing is different from being fast. So, and flowing is nothing to do with being fast. It's just letting the body do what it's going to do. So in a way, just get a sense that you don't lose that kind of heaviness that you had before, where you were kind of going, as if you were doing it through water. Now the feeling is like you're in water, but it doesn't matter. You're doing it through a thick, heavy substance. There's a resistance, but it doesn't matter. The body's just going to cut through it. The body's just going to cut through it. So I think it's a bit kind of heavy, relaxed, but like full feeling. There we go. That's it. And just play with it a little. Take the arm different places. You can go to the hips, you can go to the ribs. You can even go towards the ground a little bit with this one. A bit more complex, but just kind of play with it. There we go. The last minute, so just with this, if we're going to go into Joe. So what I want you to do is just find the back hand. You're in a Kamae, and just feel that you initiate the downwards movement, pull the body forward, and there's the swing happens like this. Just play a few minutes. I just want to focus on the back hand, and I want to feel like it's like a pendulum. So like a kind of grandfather clock kind of. The arm just swings out. And just comes back. Just give yourself space with it. So I want to catch the hip. Really feel that this is quite loose. Drop in, send it out. Try both sides as well. So I find this easier doing 3 or 4 on one side. Catch the feeling and then switch the side, rather than just keep switching the side. But just play with it. You can also use the front hand. You can place that on the shoulder. Just gives you a bit more feedback on what the shoulder's really doing, and it will tell me straight away if the shoulder goes into tension or if I carry the arm, because the joint will go dunk, lock like this. So just imagine it. Let it go at the end. So the beginning and the end is really important. Let it go, let it go. And all the time the joint should feel pretty loose. So what the actual problem in this case, I think, is like we actually carry ourselves all the time. So we talk about tension and stuff, but what we're actually doing is like carrying the joint. So what we're doing is like, and carrying the arm through the space rather than just let it go. So you can really just let the joint go and it will go with you. But I don't need to carry the arm at all. And the problem is like I do that as a natural pattern and then I put a jaw in my hands and then it gets worse. So I start to then do this kind of stuff. So just get the feeling, try and a little bit break the habit. I've got it too, so it's like, I want to feel that I'm not kind of, doing the motion, but I'm just letting the joint swing through it. There you go. So just do whatever you need to do just to kind of release through the arm, release through the structure. What I find helps for me is focusing much more on the ground, much more on the lower body than the arm. Just let the arm go. And then just find that my feeling penetrates into the ground. I'm not really concerned about the arm. Just let it go. Yeah. And every so often, slide the body forward with it. So let the body slide forward, like you would do a ski. Yeah, that's it, that's it, that's it. So pretty strange exercise, but really helpful for the jaw work. There we go. Very nice. Okay, good. If you want to try these at home more, then I suggest also try with a ball, something heavy. So there's an intermediate step between having the hand empty and then taking a weapon. Because my tendency goes with when I take the weapon, all my habits, everything that I've trained, many years I've trained, rises up straight away. And it's very hard to like break a movement pattern by doing the same thing. So in a way, I need to do things different, or I need to do different things just to see if I can break the pattern somewhere else. So I suggest like using objects like balls, heavy balls, and doing the same movements you would do, or doing the same move. Just try it with something else. You can do it with anything, with a cushion, with, it doesn't matter. It just matters that you've got a bit of feedback. You can do it with an orange. What matters is that I'm actually trying to connect now into something else. So you can also just try a few minutes. If you've got anything in the space or anything you can grab at hand, just try it. So just like dun, dun, dun. And I suggest just play with objects because it's all we're actually doing. Fundamentally, we've got sticks, bokkens, and we're just playing with them. Now we've got all these formal patterns of movements and nice kind of intricate katas, but in the end of the day, we're just playing with objects and relationships with objects and space. So pretty fundamental stuff. So you can actually train it all the time. Try Aikido so far. You can just train it all day. So just play with it a little bit. There you go. Just a few. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Okay. Great. Okay, take it. We'll do a little bit. Work. Just to get back into the Joe work, just start kind of coming into the command. Just move around the space a little bit, left and right side. And I also feel like you're really kind of fitting the movement, the body now into the Joe. So you've got this now of like, should feel very comfortable. I should feel really anchored in the body. Check in with the body. Very solid, really grounded. And the feeling that I can just move. Check the grip, everything feels quite good. Feel quite connected into the weapon. Hips are nice and grounded. Knees are relaxed. You've got springiness in them. Good. So one of the easiest things for the Joe to work, which I find quite difficult in the bokken, is because the bokken's quite narrow. Everything seems to get kind of close to the front, and it's very hard to work in this direction, left and right. So the Joe's much more easy for me. It's basically naturally designed for a kind of much longer, wider body this way. So I just want to focus on the chest, the hips, mostly the shoulder area here, but just get a sense of something much wider, much more open. I should feel totally wide. Da, 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 da. So everything in the shoulders, the hips, the knees, everything's got a feeling of spreading out in the left and the right. That's it. That's it. That's it. The feeling of like go wide. It's like in the cinema, you know, when the cinema starts and it's like the screen gets bigger, it goes when the curtains draw back. So it's this feeling of like everything goes a little bit wider. Everything's going to kind of open out. And you can also make it extreme by going from the kind of Bokken stance, very narrow, and then it's like I go to widescreen. Totally open out the body. Yeah. That's it, that's it, that's it. All right. And just in your own time, just start to go into a ski so. Just I usually do about 8 or 10 on one side and then just change the side, but nice and slow. Just to get into the swing. There. Back. Foot down. There. Each time coming back into that kind of wide open position. Body's wide open. Wow. 8 or 10 one side. Change. There's always a challenge. Whenever I can work one thing, there's like a dark side. So there's a really like light side opportunity. I've got expansion. The dark side of that is that I go dispersed. So the energy goes like this. So what can tend to happen in this case is like the feet start to go into this position, like this. So I start to go like this. The body's actually falling on a line like this way. So I'm working the length, I'm working the width of the body, but I'm doing it in a way that's dispersed. It's going everywhere. So I want you to feel that you're also going to focus everything down the jaw. And that basically means you're not going to let this foot come out like this. Well, I show this way because it's a bit easier. What I don't want to go in this position. What I want to be still triangular in the posture. So it's like this. So that back leg, really feel that it's grounded here and then it's pressing through. And just experiment, just play with it. If I turn the foot out like this, I'm actually falling back as I do it. So if I place the weight into the heels, my body's actually going to fall back. So it's like I'm standing on a tightrope. But I want to feel that, and it's a small change, but it's the difference between this leg being engaged in the movement and this leg being empty, falling away. So just play with that back foot because it's really important to the feeling of the ski. So that. The back leg should be super strong. Should be really, really heavy. And if I change the angle of the foot even a little bit, for me, I feel it go. It's like I create a leak in the command. All the energy is going to go somewhere else. Just play with the feeling. And there's no correct way. It's like finding the right fit that fits your body and the one that feels the most stable. The angle's always going to be different depending on your structure. Then again, just focus a little bit more on the lower body, on the legs, and I So there's two ways you can think about this. You can think of it like sitting on a bridge. So it's like the body sits on a bridge. So it's like the legs are like a kind of arch for the body. And what I want to feel is that the weight of the body presses out the bridge. And I want you to feel like as the body drops in, it's gonna sink down. So that the pressure is going equally out of the feet. And there's a sense of arcing through the lower body. So you've got this. So if you think about it like this, you've got like a bridge above the ground. Now, if you can get that feeling, there, as you go in, and you can do this with the jaw or without, but it's just to get the feeling of entering a kind of really stable structure with the body. Again, it's a bit like the Bokken work in that if we cut, we go into like unstable positions. So I want to really create the structure so that it's receiving the upper body. And it's the same here. I want the structure down below to receive the upper body. So I should feel really stable. That. So just focus a little bit on finding that kind of really stable structure down below. For me, sometimes it's useful to think of it like a bridge, like you're sitting on the middle of a bridge. Yeah. Good. That's good. Okay. And the bridge metaphor is good because it looks like structure and it looks quite solid and it changes the way I use the body. But what I want to think now is like if you imagine like a big yoga ball underneath the body. Now you've got to feel that the yoga ball is like underneath the ground as well. So it's like the top of the yoga ball is here and it's going to go in through the ground. Now the yoga ball helps because they're kind of flexible and they're like inflated. So I want the feeling when I go into this, like I'm going into an expansion with the lower body. So the feeling is like out. So I want to feel like I'm compressing down onto like a soft yoga ball. And I want to feel that the yoga ball basically presses back the body. So it's got this kind of quality. So just look for something that's a little bit more flexible now. So it can help. I just imagine something quite squishy, and that keeps a sense of flex in the knees. And the bridge visualization can get a bit static and rigid. And I'm holding the structure in place. So just get the feeling now something a little bit more supple in the body. So just check the knees at the end of the ski. They should be pretty loose, or pretty bouncy. Loose is the wrong word. They should be bouncy. The body should feel a little bit bouncy. Yeah. Like a space hopper. More like a space hopper, like a big space hopper. There we go, that's it. Nice. Okay, we're just going down to Zengo. So you're going to go front and then release towards the back, spiral towards the back. Find the back of the jump, thrusting forward. So you're going to rotate the whole body, change the grip, thrusting on the left side. Roll the whole body through. Roll to the back. Roll to the back. Roll to the back. Roll. Whoosh. Yeah. So Zengo. So it's like you try and make it really simple. So I want the turn to be simple. So in this case, I can make the turn different ways. But in this, imagine you're just going to make it simple. So it's as if someone calls my name from behind me, and I just turn around that way. So I'm just going to pivot the body that way. So you go here, and boom, someone behind me, I engage. Thrust in. Go. And just the first few, go a little bit outside the form, or don't do the kind of specific form, and just go to the feeling of like, I go here and I just turn. I just need to engage something behind me. So there should feel like a natural instinct to just turn to the back. So there's a feeling like, da, da, da. It's like there's a ghost in the room. Oh, something's there. Oh, and then you turn back. So just get this feeling first, the intention to just rotate on the spot. That's it, Nick, good. Great. Good. There we go. Nice. Great, good. And you've got to be a bit fanatic about one point. One point really especially. This will make things a lot easier with the ski. So every time you come back, really come back to the hip this way. It's very tempting in this case. I go down, 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 and all that happens is I just get more and more pulled forward, and the ski becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. So I want to feel every time that the jaw becomes more expansive. So each time, really feel you're going to go back to the hip. So really focus now on feeling this rotation, and there's an extra drawback. The feeling's like drawing a bow. This. But if I do, no. This. I want to really set the body up so that it can just go into the ski. And it means I need to really find the back hip. There's some technical details which will just make things totally easy. So, and this is one of them, just finding the back hip with the hand. That's it. Yeah. Okay, and in this case, it's like I want to change the handwork. I can't do it just by changing the hand. So you can do it like this. I'm going to just pull the hand back to the hip. But it's like the instruction's not really to just pull the hand to the hip. The instruction's to open the body back again. So really feel that what you're doing is actually something in the hip work in the core of the body. So really feel you get this, I've got this, and then the core of the body's going to engage into that movement. So, and the hand will just follow that movement. So I actually don't need to think about where the hand lands. I'm just thinking about how do I open the movement out again. So I'm going there, focus, and then open there. So it's something actually happening in the hip, something happening in the core of the body, and that will go. The hand will follow that movement. Yeah. Yeah. So it's not something it's not the hand you change, it's the whole body again. There we go. Very good. Yep. Good. Okay, we're going to go back into the Suburi that we did yesterday. So just starting with number 1. So you go into a neutral position, just place the jaw so it feels quite comfortable in front of the body. And then just working on what we did yesterday, which is just like everything goes finding the ski. Now use this training we've just done. It's like I really want to enter the body into a very steady structure. So I go neutral, really long, and then enter into this movement. Really feel the body's very, very stable. Just make it as calm and as unified as possible. Everything goes together. Together. No, together. Back. Go. That's it. One. The jaw. Nice. tell you one mistake we all make, and we almost always do it, and it will change the way you do the suburu, and you will get much more out of it. So it's just about concentration. So watch this. I go, I switch on, and then I do the thing, and then I switch off. And then I switch on, and then I get back in. Just get the sense that when you're doing the suburu, even though it's not repetitious, get the sense that once you connect with the jo, connect, go. Connect. You're always practicing your concentration and connection with the jo. Now, the moment I break that, the body's just it's doing different things. So the attention gets taken somewhere else. So try and, basically what I do is like do something, do the thing, do it with full concentration. And if I can't hold that concentration, I do nothing. So if I can't hold it for very long, I just do nothing. I watch people on the screen, or I watch people in the dojo. And then when I feel you can be a bit more concentrated, go. But as soon as the jo touches the ground, you're in this position. Really feel that you're engaged. All the body. And then go. And basically the ability to maintain that's where you'll get the most out of the training. Not switching off. Staying full all the time. And it's as much a kind of technical thing as a kind of mental thing. So give it a try. Okay, so we're going to number 2. So we did yesterday. It's the same from the same position. You're going to engage the whole body, and then you're going to come over the top, thrust in, and then coming back. Again, just coming nice and calmly back, and then over, thrusting in. Just looking for real calm stability. And go. Go together. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. So all of you have got this idea of like the whole body going at once. So the hands going, the body's going. What's happening sometimes it's like the jo doesn't go with you. So what's happening is like the whole body goes, but the jo's actually stuck in place. So it's like stuck in the ground. Get the feeling as soon as you go. I don't think you can see the jo, the bottom of the jo. Get the feeling like I'm gonna go there so you can see the jo. Get the feeling it's like as soon as you go, boom, the jo's coming into movement. So straight away, everything goes into movement. Now I don't want to like the jo stick and I move around it. This is doing something else. So get the sense that as you go, whoa, everything's going to go with you. Because if this hand goes, the jo comes with it. But I don't want to like stick the hand down and somehow move around it. Everything goes with you, even the mat. So go, really let everything go. And that includes the jo. Just let everything move with it. You should feel like an explosion. The movement goes like a boom, and everything moves with it. It's like an explosion from the center. Nothing stays still. Everything goes. That's it. Yeah. That's it. I just give you two ways to look at the form, and this is like if you're senior when you're used to this movement, I want you to try it a bit more like this. So if you're a beginner, just go like the same way we've been doing it. So nice and slow, kind of coming through to here. Now the problem with doing the movement is it's like what I see a little bit is we've got a habit from the beginning, from being a beginner, which is like loading the movement up and then passing it forward. So there's like a draw and then a release. Now, eventually what you need to do is like this, I practice like instinctive archery. So if I've got a bow and an arrow, I can practice all a long time like this, and release the bow. But eventually what I'm working towards is going from this position and boom, firing the bow like this. So I need the arrow to just go boom, no loading, no drawing, it's all one movement. So just feel if you're kind of senior, you're used to it, get the sense now that everything's just gonna go on straight into it. And it's not going to be like a loading movement and then a movement forward. But if you're a beginner, totally disregard this. It doesn't matter. It's just how you learn the movement. But if you're used to it, just get a sense that you can just do one action, which is really tricky. Down, down. And the feeling is as if you're blending against someone with a ski. If you imagine the very first move of the 31, Joe partner. That feeling where I need to just blend, everything comes in. So the intention behind this movement is a counter. So it's a countering movement. It needs to be like instantaneous. Play a little bit with it. That's it, that's it, that's it. Oh, good. There we go. That's very nice. Nice, 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 nice. Great. Great. Nice. So there's a kind of cheat way of doing this. I'll show you because it's actually the way I was taught it originally. So the idea is like this, I can, if I'm focused on a goal, I will do anything to get there. So I'll do the simplest, laziest possible thing to get to the goal. So my aim is to like get to that movement in one. So I just do this. So nothing goes with it. So I just kind of prod the person. And then I make up a story about how it's faster and maybe it's a strike. But the intention of this is like it's a ski. So what I need to do always with the ski is draw the weapon through. So it always needs to have a sense that it's going to do this kind of motion. Now that's going to be smaller or bigger depending on the quality of the movement and depending on the time I've got. But it's always going to do something like this. It's always going to do that. So I need a basic flexibility in the front hand to do that. If I'm too stiff, this will happen. So I really want to sense that I'm drawing through it and then pulling through it. So it's always got this quality. This. And that's just the nature of the Joe ski. It needs to be this way because it's not a sharp, pointy object and it's not a hitting movement. So it's a piercing, thrusting movement. So it needs to have this kind of quality. So I need to feel that I'm piercing to the center of the person when you do it. So just get the feeling now, work it slow, but get the feeling of really drawing through the weapon, really feeding through the front hand. Just work a few slow. One thing, full of feeling. Yeah, that one. There we go. That's it. That's it. That's it. Very nice. Oh, very nice. Good. Okay, we'll move on to number 3, which works Ushiro ski. So this is a new movement. It goes to the back, and we're just going to do in 2 moves because it makes it a bit easier. You start in the left side again. What I want to do is go to this position. So the first move is like kind of sitting down the body. So it's like the first thing to go is the back heel. This, and then I take the jaw to the forearm. So I kind of line the jaw up with the forearm like this. So just practice this first movement. Really simple, just done. And I just want to let the structure sit down, as if I'm just sitting down into a seat. Got the same kind of feeling. So I'm going to adjust the back hip and then just sit the structure down. And I really want to feel like a kind of magnetic quality with the forearm. Goes like to this. Just very close to the body. Just like this. Just that. It's a really small, simple movement. They're really important for how I do the next move. So just that. Just get that kind of feeling. That's it. Huh. That's it. Okay, so really, it's a bit like when you make a karate ski. It's like I want the structure, everything to be quite close to the body. I don't want it to be like floating, and I don't want it to be like in different positions. So I want it like go. Every time I want it to go to the same place. So just work on a kind of consistency, which is each time goes to the same place. Every time goes to the same place, and be really obsessive about it. One of the times, like I can go here, I can go here, I can let the elbow drift off the body a little bit. And then I'm giving myself too much tolerance. So I need to have like zero tolerance with myself. I need to just think every time, go back, every time. I was off. That. And the ones which are right, kind of 90% right, they'll just feel great. So the structure will just feel great. It's in place. Everything's there. And I feel I want to go into the next movement. But I want to really be a bit strict on myself. Not really in place. No. That one.
Michael, question: the head and the torso actually turns slightly. It doesn't remain pointing forward.
Yeah, let it follow the spine. So it's going to go like that. So that movement. It's a bit false because this movement doesn't really exist, but in later. But just get the sense that the spine's like this way. The head's kind of here. My eyes are focused a bit forward. There, and then from that position there. So it's going to follow it's going to follow the line of the spine, which is going from that way to that way. So the head's going to follow that. All right. Good. Okay, so we'll go to the next move. This makes the next move really easy. So you go here, and then I just press into this foot, the back foot, and then take it back. So just do it very, very lightly. So this is thrusting right behind you. Find the position, really find the structure, sit into the structure, and then press, open it out to the back. And then come back. So it's in two movements. 1, 2. And the first thing is just focusing on the balance. So really making sure the body feels very comfortable, very balanced, especially in the second movement. And then as you finish the last movement, feel the body's nicely in the middle. Just take a few seconds at the end. Really simple movement, but really actually quite complex. It's full of really quite a complex body movement.
Michael?
Yeah.
There's no draw through the left hand. You keep the left hand static on the...
In this case, it's kind of flexible. So I'm going to allow it to kind of shift through, depending on the structure. I'm not going to, in this case, it slightly changes when it goes faster, but I'm not going to, in this case, kind of keep the grip kind of heavy. Because what I find with that is that as I do this, what happens to the structure goes into these kind of places. So I let that be quite loose. And if it flows through it, then it goes through that way. So done. But in this case, it's not moving a lot. So it's not like I do that and then do that. So it's not like a big feature, but just keep the left hand quite relaxed on the jaw.
Thank you.
That's it. Good. Okay, cool. Very good. Nice. And there's a kind of old teaching which is a little bit dogmatic, which is about don't look behind you. So sometimes you'll maybe hear this in the dojo. It's like this movement, don't look behind you, and the movement becomes like this. Now, I think this is like a simplified. This is like a simplified translation of like don't focus directly behind you. So I'm not doing this in this case. This was a teaching to stop this happening, by kind of turning the whole body. Because if I do this in an engagement where someone's right behind me directly, I'm turning into it and then I'm thrusting. So the whole body's actually too late. So I need to, in this case, really feel that, oh, someone's behind me. But I don't need to twist the whole body to engage them. It's the feeling of like someone's behind me, right behind me, and I do this with the elbow. But I don't need to turn around to strike them. I just hit them, bang. Now I don't need to look at them, but I do need to engage the head in the movement. So just the problem with this teacher is I lock the head forward and I do this. And I just create a lot of tension. And actually what's happening is the head splitting from the movement. So just in this case, let the head follow the spine. So you go here, follow the spine, follow the spine, follow the spine. In my case, the head ends up kind of watching this hand. So the head ends up a little bit in this area. Now I can see behind me in my peripheral vision. So I can see everything behind me. So there's a chair behind me, there's my enso. I know everything that's behind me. I can see it, but I'm not focusing on it. Because as soon as I focus on it, everything moves in the body. Now that's okay if I need to go to that direction. But for this move, everything needs to stay. So it's an ushiro ski. It's not a kind of rotating thrusting to the back. So it's like, just goes right to the back. It's a bit complicated. So try and use your peripheral vision to kind of see behind you. If you can't use your peripheral vision, use your third eye. Something in the back. Something in the back. You know something's behind you. You don't need to watch it. Done. Yeah, good. That's very nice. We'll just do one kata to start, to finish. You go, like we did yesterday, you go here with number 2 first, thrust in, release it, find the thrust forward, and now you're going to do a different movement back. So you're going to let the body go to the back with the ski. And you just finish there. So it's just 3 moves. 4, 3, and then 4, right to the back. Just to finish, nice, calm, concentrated. You go 2, roll back, find the back hip, thrust in, thrust to the rear, and back. Push, and finish. The last few, I just want to focus on the fluidity in the handwork. So if you're a beginner, you can just do this really in a way you do it statically. So you do 1, everything flows through the hand. I go here, flows through the hands, flows through the hands, flows through the hands this way. So just practice on that kind of level. You just allow everything to feed through. So just the last few repetitions, really get a sense that you're feeding the jo through the hands. The hands are nice and relaxed. Your senior, really get the sense that the center is behind that action. So the hands are being governed by the center work. So let the hips can lead the movement. That. So really let the center guide the hands. Whoosh. Oh. Just the last 2 or 3. That's it. Nice. Great, great, great. Very nice. Great. Right. Okay, we'll stop there. So that's the first 3 saburi. These are the basic skis. So we added another ski to the kind of 2 we did yesterday. This is using a new Shiro ski, so just adds a bit more complexity to the move. So that's that. And this first set of ski movements, there's 5. So we'll look at the next 2 tomorrow. And these involve combination movements. So this is for tomorrow. Okay. Hi. どうもありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
どうもありがとう